Texas is facing the Baylor Bears for the final game of Big 12 play. How does the Baylor offense plan to attack? Why is their defense taking a step back? And most importantly, can the Longhorns finish the season strong and secure that 8th win? After the show, Inside Texas is the spot to stay up to date on your favorite football team. Intelligent pre- and post-game analysis, constant recruiting updates, and behind-the-scenes info dropping daily. Don't wait. Make sure to subscribe to InsideTexas.com today. Link in the description. Baylor is having a down year, but overlooking them would be a major mistake. Can the Longhorns handle business this Friday and end the season on a high note? Without further ado, let's get into it. Baylor didn't perform to their expectations this season after winning 12 games and the Big 12 title last year. Offense wasn't their strong suit, so Jeff Grimes decided to make a switch at quarterback to boost the passing ability of the Baylor offense, but it's been rocky. Blake Shapen is an interesting quarterback to break down. It's more the mental side holding him back. He has a nice arm, good velocity, and a quick release. He's more than capable of moving the offense with shorter passes, but he can hesitate on the more complicated concepts, throwing off timing. He's double guessing himself, especially in the clutch, and that makes sense because he's second in the league for interceptions with 9. Shapen needs to find that balance between believing his eyes and also not being reckless. It's a tightrope. The Baylor offense doesn't focus on the deep ball often unless it's a well-timed play-action shot. Shapen has the third lowest deep shot attempt percentage, only taking the shot on 12% of his passes. On those rare moments, he fails to capitalize consistently, ranking 10th in completion percentage over 20 yards. But once or twice a game, he can connect, especially when the safeties bite hard on that play fake. Shapen really shines at that intermediate range where he can stare down a receiver on an in-breaking route. He's much more confident in that scenario. He's second in yards, third in completion percentage, and fourth in yards per attempt in that 10 to 19 yard range. He's also pretty good in the short game, completing about 75% on the quicker cuts. The theme is when the reads become more muddy, Shapen can be reluctant to make the throw on time. The issue is not making the throw on time is what can actually lead to those interceptions in the first place. But he's clearly aware he needs to be better at taking care of the ball, maybe even too aware. And he's not a bad quarterback by any means. In fact, he's slightly above average, but he struggles most when the pressure is on. Shapen has functional mobility that benefits the rollouts as extensions of their wide zone running game, but he can be utilized for some design runs and the occasional key scramble. Shapen is teetering on the edge of really putting it together. He's only a sophomore and he's physically capable of being a good Big 12 quarterback. He just needs an offseason to grow with the scheme and build that confidence. They don't ask too much of him as the Baylor offense isn't passing focused. They're 77th in passing attempts per game, and all receivers are in the bottom half of targets on the year. But they do a good job of spreading around those limited targets and have some good players. The 6'2", 200-pound outside receiver Hal Presley is the most targeted on the team with 48, but the sophomore is lacking production. Presley is catching 60% of his targets, ranking 30th out of 37 Big 12 receivers. On top of that, he's 29th in overall yards and 23rd in yards per catch. He's their most utilized deep threat with 11 targets on the season, but has only pulled in 3 of those. He's most valuable to Baylor in the short game, where 42% of his targets come from, catching around 72%. Right now, Hal is a possession receiver due to the high number of contested catches and the worst yards after catch per reception numbers in the entire league. Overall, he's the 34th graded receiver. The most dynamic is slot receiver Monterey Baldwin. The 5'9", 165-pound receiver is dangerous due to that 10.5 100-meter speed. You can hit him short to rack up yards after the catch, behind the line on screens, hand off to him on jet motions, or send him vertical for the explosive play. He's a weapon Baylor can utilize everywhere on the field due to his ability to create separation and make moves with the ball in his hands, ranking 4th in yards after catch per reception. And when you put all of that production together, he's the 6th graded wide receiver in the Big 12. The third most targeted is another inside receiver, Gavin Holmes, catching 22 of his 34 targets. Baylor has a type in their slot guys, and Holmes continues that trend of elite speed, posting a 4.3240 at a camp in high school. At 5'11", 200 pounds, he has top-tier acceleration. He can take off if you don't secure the tackle quickly. Overall, he's the 12th ranked receiver, but he was out for their last game against TCU, so it's yet to be seen if he'll still return. Finally, their 4th most targeted receiver is the 6'1", 215-pound outside receiver Josh Cameron. The bulk of his targets come between 10 to 19 yards, so be aware of him creeping over the middle, catching 71% from this range. He doesn't have a singular elite trait, but he's a max effort dude who isn't afraid to get dirty in the blocking game. Cameron is the 19th ranked receiver in the Big 12. But the receivers aren't the only options in the pass game. Baylor's tight end Ben Sims is the third most targeted player on the team. At 6'5", 260 pounds, he's a problem for opposing defensive backs and linebackers. And he's sure-handed, catching 75%, and he's motioned out about 30% of the time. He's most utilized in that short range for easy completions to move the sticks. Overall, he ranks 6th of 8 Big 12 receiving tight ends. Due to low passing attempts and an emphasis on play action, the offensive line is doing a good job in pass protection. The offensive line is responsible for only 7 sacks, ranking 8th. They're 5th in quarterback hits and 9th in hurries. And due to these solid numbers, they currently rank 3rd in overall pass blocking unit efficiency. Individually, right tackle Khalil Keith is the 7th graded pass blocking offensive lineman. Center Jacob Gall is 9th, and left tackle Connor Galvin is 22nd. The offensive line does good work against the pass, but they actually perform their best in the run game. Baylor currently ranks 36th in average line yards per run and are 28th in rushing yards per game. Baylor has moved around the lineup recently, so some players were no longer starting as of the TCU game. Center Jacob Gall is the 2nd best run blocker. 2nd string left guard Michael Mazuka is 3rd. Right guard Grant Miller is 7th. 2nd string right tackle Gavin Byers is 10th. And left tackle Connor Galvin is tied for 10th. So that's 5 offensive linemen in the top 10 for run blocking. The Baylor run game is the most important aspect of the offense, ranking 16th in the nation for run attempts per game, averaging 4.6 yards per rush, good for 44th in the nation. They're an outside zone attack, meaning they prefer to generate gaps while moving towards the sideline, as opposed to the vertical displacement of inside zone schemes. Freshman Richard Reese has been a good discovery for the Bears, and he should be their starter for years to come. He's a smaller back at 5'9", 175 pounds, but he's intense and he doesn't shy away from contact, though his size does limit his ability to run through guys. His speed is the main threat, clocked at over 21 miles per hour this season on a run. And if he gets that clean hole, he can pick up those big chunk plays, ranked 4th in runs over 10 yards. He's 2nd in touchdowns this season, scoring 14 with 0 fumbles. There's still some patience issues as a young back, so he's only averaging 5.2 yards per carry for 13th in the league, but that'll come with time. Overall, the young running back is ranked as the 4th best rusher in the league. Baylor does a good amount of rotation at the position as well. Quaylon Jones is a big back weighing 242 pounds, and he can get you those tough yards in the red zone or on those shorter downs. He's accounted for 7 touchdowns, averaging 5.4 yards per carry. Another back you'll see often is the junior Squirrel Williams, and he's a more slender back at 5'9", 170 pounds, but he's a burner, posting an elite 2.23 100-meter time. If he's able to get the edge on outside runs, good luck catching him. Overall, it's a good, not great Baylor offense this year. They're 41st in points per game, 36th in total offense, 28th in rushing yards, and 68th in passing yards. The keys for the Texas defense is to stop the run, and that'll make Baylor play left-handed. That outside zone scheme will have linemen and linebackers moving sideline to sideline all game. So don't lose your gap or get turned on a block, or the backs will make a quick cut for a gain. The Texas rushing defense is 17th in rushing yards per attempt, so we have been awesome in disrupting good rushing attacks. And this should be a similar result if they don't wear us out with all the horizontal movement. A big key is how Baylor ties the outside run scheme with the pass game. They love to roll out and play action off of it. If the secondary gets lulled to sleep with the consistent runs, it allows Baylor to sneak off and complete easy passes, with the occasional deep shot peppered in. Don't lose your man and be wary of triggering on the run too soon on potential passing downs. Shapen is most comfortable with those in-breaking routes, so be ready to guard the middle of the field. Mix up your coverages pre and post snap because Shapen has thrown a lot of picks and you want to slow his processing time. In the pass rush, put some clean big hits on Shapen as it wears on him throughout the game. On key downs, be aware he can turn into a runner and get to the sticks. Dave Aranda employs an aggressive style that goes for it on 4th downs. Punish them for going for it too often or they can rack up plays, running the 29th most plays per game in the country. The Baylor offense is a threat as their top half in performance all around. But now, let's see how things are looking on the other side of the ball. But before we hit the defense, you need to check out Prize Picks. Prize Picks is a US-based daily fantasy sports app where you can make college football player projections all season long. How does it work? You select 2 to 5 players and choose more or less on their projections. It could be passing yards, rushing yards, receiving yards, and more. And if those players score more or less than their Prize Pick projection, you can win up to 10 times your money on any entry. Just hop on the Prize Picks app or website, go to the college football tab, and check out the player projections. It's a smooth process where you can make your entries in 60 seconds or less with fast withdrawals. It's that easy. As a first-time depositor, use promo code TexasHomer, and you will receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100. That's double your money up to $100 for your first time. So sign up for Prize Picks, use promo code TexasHomer at sign up, and add even more excitement to your game day. Link in the description. Dave Aranda is known for his defense, but they lost a lot on that side of the ball. By advanced metrics, they went from the number 9 defense in 2021 to the 43rd in 2022. They are currently 60th in opponent points per game, giving up 27 points per contest. The run defense is a base 3-down tight front, meaning a nose over the center and both ends inside of the tackle. But there's more flexibility in that due to Aranda's jack position, which is a hybrid linebacker that can be utilized like an end, blitz like a linebacker, or even drop into the flats against the pass. The run defense is their strength, holding teams to 3.8 yards per rush for 40th in the nation, and giving up 138 yards per game for 45th. No Siaki Ika is the 19th graded interior run stopper, and defensive tackle Gabe Hall is ranked 28th of 41 defensive interior guys. Second string defensive end Cole Maxwell is 19th. First string defensive end TJ Franklin is 23rd. Jack Garman Randolph is 25th. Second string Jackie Marshall is 27th for the edge guys. But they improve against the run on the second level, with middle linebacker Dylan Doyle graded as the best run-stopping linebacker in the league, followed by will linebacker Matt Jones at 12th. The secondary is also a solid run-stopping unit, especially due to their safeties. Second string star safety Devin Neal is 6th. Weak safety Christian Morgan is 10th. Free safety Devin Lemire is 12th. And star safety Al Walcott is 20th out of 70 total run-stopping DBs. Both starting cornerbacks are struggling against the run, though. Against the pass, Baylor is 89th in sacks per game. In overall sack rate, they are 120th in the nation, only landing the sack on 4% of plays. Future NFL knows Siaki Ika is the 4th graded pass rushing interior lineman, and defensive tackle Gabe Hall is 12th. On the edges, defensive end TJ Franklin is 9th with 33 total pressures. Situational pass rusher Bryson Jackson is 13th with 17 total pressures. And Jack Garman Randolph is 17th with 25 total pressures. And Baylor has one top half pass rushing linebacker in Matt Jones, with 13 total pressures, including 3 sacks. The Baylor pass coverage is the weakness of their defense, giving up 7.5 yards per pass, ranking 59th in the nation. In raw pass yardage, they are surrendering 229 yards per game, ranking 68th in the nation. Middle linebacker Dylan Doyle does a good job over the middle, ranking 6th of 33 pass coverage linebackers. Free safety Devin Lemire is the 8th graded coverage DB. Field corner Lorando Johnson is 12th, and star safety Al Walcott is 17th, and that rounds out their top 25 coverage guys. The Texas offense has to face a solid run defense. I don't expect another Kansas outing of total domination, but maybe we can recreate the rushing success we had against a good Kansas State unit. The tight front is designed to plug interior gaps, forcing the run outside to linebackers and defensive backs. Ideally, you just run over them vertically despite their alignment, but since that will likely prove difficult, Texas needs to get numbers to the play side. Counter works due to its built-in misdirection and the ability to pull a tight end around. Plus, it's been a successful scheme for us this year. Our common use of 12 personnel provides answers as well, and of course, we have the best running back in the country. But our one-dimensional running success could prove to be an issue if Baylor fields an inspired run defense like in the TCU game. I worry about teams selling out against the run and forcing our struggling passing offense to be consistent. The Baylor pass defense isn't great, but can we complete passes at a 63% plus rate? Can our receivers make the contested catch? Can we hit those deep shots to keep the safeties from creeping up? Baylor likes to bring pressure, so we have to be prepared to hit our hot routes and make them pay for that, but that's not our current strength. The safeties are their good pass defenders, so throwing inside could be tricky for a young Ewers. Ideally, you test them on the outside when those one-on-ones present themselves. Otherwise, find holes in their zone coverage and anticipate the throw. This Baylor team has had a disappointing year, but they are still a more than capable squad that has lost some close games. With nothing tangible to play for, they at least have the motivation to beat the Longhorns for fun. Those are sound schemes on both sides of the ball with a group of really smart coaches, so I am curious to see how they play us. The big question remaining is, can Texas finish the season strong and quantify a market improvement from last year's record? We will find out Friday morning at 11 a.m. in DKR. Thanks for hanging out. Watch some more of my videos here, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share if you want to support quality Texas content. As always, hook 'em.